Our new neighbors moved in last fall. Young couple. Friendly. The wife always smiled at me a little too long. I brushed it off. Until one morning, I looked out the window and saw my husband sneaking out her back door. He thought I was at work. I wasn't. I knocked on her door 10 minutes later and handed her a gift basket, full of photos I took that morning. She turned pale. He came running down the driveway yelling, "You're overreacting." I just smiled and said, "Good luck explaining this to your HOA." Her husband moved out the next day. So did mine. We moved into this neighborhood in Lexington, Kentucky, about 10 years ago. It's one of those quiet, tucked-away places where everyone mows their lawn on Sunday, and the biggest drama is whose dog pooped on whose lawn. It's quiet. Or at least it was. My husband, Mark, and I bought the house back when we thought we'd have kids. That never happened. Not for lack of trying. 2 miscarriages, then a doctor's talk about age and risk, and we let that dream go. Quietly. Like most things in our marriage, we didn't fight about it. We just stopped bringing it up. Mark sells wine and spirits to restaurants all over the state. He's always on the road, at least 4 days a week. When we first got married, I loved that about his job. Gave me time to myself. Now, it just meant long silences and laundry that smelled like hotels. Then last October, the house next door sold. New couple. Young. Maybe late 20s. No kids. They drove a brand new black Jeep, parked perfectly every time. First day they moved in, I baked banana bread. It's what the neighborhood expects. Jenna opened the door. Long dark hair, smooth skin, tank top with no bra, and that kind of smile that's just a little too interested. I handed her the bread, said, "Welcome to Pecan Ridge," and she said, "Thanks. I'm Jenna." She leaned against the doorframe while we talked. Asked what I did for work. Said her husband, Ryan, worked from home doing something with computers. He's not really a people person, she said with a laugh. But I like meeting new folks. I told her about Mark. She smiled bigger and said, "Hopefully we'll run into him soon." I didn't think much of it. Just a bored young wife in a new town. Ryan was nice but quiet. Always wore polos. Had a dog, some kind of mutt mix. Cleaned up after it every time. Waved when he mowed the lawn. After about a month, I started noticing things. Like Jenna would always happen to be out back when Mark was home. Like she knew our schedule. Like she waited. She'd wear tight running shorts and bend down to pick up nothing. Stretch her legs on the fence like it was some casual thing. She'd call over to me, "Hey. What days does your trash get picked up again?" We'd already talked about that. One time she dropped off cookies while I was in the shower. Mark said she just left them at the door, but the next day, I saw a pair of earrings on the floor of our porch. Not mine. Cheap gold hoops. I put them in a drawer and said nothing. I didn't want to be that wife. The one who accuses and screams and drives her husband away with paranoia. I kept telling myself, there's nothing going on. She's just young and flirty. And he's just being polite. Until that morning. It was a Thursday. Mark was supposed to be in Pikeville for meetings. I had called off work the night before, still had paid sick days, and I was dealing with this tight ache behind my eyes that wouldn't let up. I woke up late. Around 9:30, I went into the kitchen to make coffee. And that's when I saw him. Through the back window. Mark. Jogging across our yard. Wearing that navy blue quarter zip I bought him for Christmas. He looked around like a teenager sneaking out of someone's house. Then he slipped through our side gate. I stood there frozen. Coffee mug halfway to my lips. He thought I was at work. I quietly walked to the living room window. Watched him unlock our back door and disappear inside like nothing happened. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I walked back to the kitchen and grabbed my phone. Opened the camera. Walked to the side window and zoomed in on Jenna's back door. I snapped photos of the door. The time on the microwave clock. The blue hoodie draped over our couch through the open blinds. I documented everything. Then I made a gift basket. Muffins from a box mix. A couple of candles I got on sale. Put everything in a nice woven tray I kept for guests. And then I printed out 4 of the best photos I had taken. Slipped them under a cloth napkin. Waited 10 minutes. Then I knocked on Jenna's door. She opened it wearing a robe and wet hair. "Oh. Hey," she said, too cheerful. "I just wanted to drop this off. Thought I'd welcome you guys properly." She smiled as she took the basket. "That's so sweet, thank you." Then she saw the photos. She didn't say a word. Her eyes didn't even blink. Just stared at them like they were covered in blood. I turned and walked away. Didn't even close her gate behind me. 10 minutes later, all hell broke loose. 10 minutes after I got home, I heard yelling. Not the usual couple arguing kind of yelling. This was raw. Male voice. Loud. Angry. Something slammed. Then Jenna screamed, not words, just noise. Like panic. I stepped out onto the porch and watched. Ryan was standing in their driveway, holding the photos in one hand. His other hand was shaking like he didn't know what to do with it. Jenna was crying, crouched by the front tire of their Jeep. Her robe was open just enough to see she had nothing underneath. Classy. Mark came running out of our house barefoot, like he just woke up. He was still zipping up his jeans. "You're overreacting," he shouted. "It's not what it looks like." I stepped off the porch and walked to the edge of our yard. "I think the photos were pretty clear," I said. "Calm. Cold." Ryan turned to me. His face changed. I could see the pieces clicking into place. "She took these?" he asked, holding up the prints. I nodded. "This morning. From my kitchen." He didn't say another word. Just looked at Jenna like she was a stranger. Then he walked inside. Came back 10 minutes later with 2 suitcases, his laptop bag, and the dog. Didn't say goodbye. Just drove away. Jenna chased the car down the driveway barefoot, crying, yelling his name. She slipped in the wet grass and landed hard on her knees. Mark tried to help her up. She slapped his hand away. The neighbors were watching now. You could see blinds shifting. Garage doors cracking open. I didn't say a word to Mark when he came back inside. That night, he slept in the guest room. Tried to talk to me around dinner. Said things like we were having problems anyway and it didn't mean anything. I just stared at the TV. Didn't even turn the sound on. The next morning, I gave him an envelope. Inside, the name of 3 divorce lawyers. A printed copy of our mortgage with highlighted sections. And a quote from a locksmith I already scheduled for Monday. He left without saying goodbye. But here's the part he didn't know. This wasn't going to be the end. I wasn't just going to let them go on like it never happened. Mark could leave. But Jenna? She was about to learn what happens when you burn the wrong house. I didn't sleep much the weekend after they left. I thought I would feel something, relief, maybe. Freedom. But mostly I just felt itchy. Restless. I walked room to room like the house didn't belong to me anymore. Jenna didn't leave. Ryan was gone, but she stayed. I saw her in the backyard 2 days later, pacing on the phone. Her hair was tied up, no makeup, oversized sweatshirt and slippers. She looked like hell. Good. By Monday, Mark had officially moved in with a friend for now. We weren't speaking. On Tuesday morning, I got a knock at the door. It was Jenna. I opened the door just enough to see her face. Puffy eyes, pale lips. She looked wrecked. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice shaking. I didn't open the door more. Just stared. She swallowed. I just want to explain. Please. I nodded slowly. Explain what? That you have ****ked my husband while your own was home? Or that you smiled at me every time you did it? She winced. I'm not a bad person. Sure, I said. You just make bad choices. In my backyard. She started to cry. I'm sorry. I didn't think, that much is clear. I shut the door. But that conversation, it stuck in my head. Not her tears. Not her words. Her face. That panicked, lost look like she'd just realized she was alone now. Really alone. So I did what I do best, research. I started looking into Jenna. Turns out, she wasn't some innocent new wife trying to start fresh. She had a trail. 2 previous addresses in Ohio. 1 in Florida. And 1 curious little lawsuit from 3 years ago, civil court, small claims. Filed by a woman in Tampa for personal damages. Vague, but suspicious. I paid $39 for a background check. Worth every penny. Jenna had been evicted before. Twice. 1 landlord's note said she had inappropriate relationships with other tenants and made living conditions volatile. It all made sense now. She was a professional homewrecker. That's when I made my choice. I wasn't going to just walk away. I wasn't going to be the sad, betrayed wife who sells the house and starts over in another zip code. No. I was going to burn her down. Quietly. Legally. Precisely. And I knew exactly where to start. HOA violations. See, our neighborhood is strict. Pecan Ridge has rules about everything. Trash bins must be brought in within 6 hours. No overnight street parking. No unregistered guests staying more than 10 days. And Jenna? She'd racked up 4 strikes already. Trash left out for days. Dog poop in the cul-de-sac. Lawn overgrown. And that car? Her Jeep? It was in Ryan's name. Not even on file. I made a call. Spoke to Carol in the HOA office. Sweet lady. Wears a wig and bakes for the board meetings. I dropped off photos. Dates. Times. Even a recording of Jenna screaming at Ryan the night he left, heard halfway down the block. 2 days later, Jenna got a notice taped to her front door. Then another. Then a fine. And that's when she cracked. The week after Jenna got her 3rd HOA violation, I saw the for sale sign go up. It was small at first. Just a coming soon sticker slapped on a white post in her yard. I watched from my front porch with my coffee, same as always. She didn't wave this time. She didn't even look my way. I thought that might be the end of it. That maybe she'd just fade out quietly. Move on. But then the cops showed up. Twice. First time, I didn't know what it was about. They came late at night. 2 cruisers, lights off, no sirens. Talked to her for nearly an hour on her porch. She looked panicked. I saw her hand shaking while she smoked. Something had cracked open. Second time, I heard the yelling. Jenna, outside. Screaming at someone on the phone. I told you I didn't know. Then, when the cops pulled up, she went dead quiet. Said she didn't want to press charges. Wouldn't say what happened. I found out 3 days later what it was about. Mark. He'd been seeing her again. After everything. Even after all the humiliation, the lawyers, the lies, he was still going to her. Not full time. Just sometimes, he said in a voicemail I never returned. He called it closure. I called it pathetic. But that wasn't the twist. The twist was, Mark had taken money from our joint account. He wasn't supposed to. Our separation agreement was clear: split everything down the middle, no large withdrawals without notice. But there it was. $6,000. Gone. I confronted him. Met him at a neutral spot, a diner outside Richmond Road. He looked tired. Hair unwashed. Skin pale like he hadn't seen sunlight in a week. I needed it for a place, he said. Temporary. For you and Jenna? I asked, no expression. He rubbed his eyes. It's not what you think. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, bank screenshots, HOA complaint forms, Jenna's eviction history, and a flash drive. On it, audio clips. Her screaming. Mark begging her to calm down. And one very shaky recording from her Ring camera, a night he tried to leave, and she stood in front of his car, sobbing, saying she'd kill herself if he drove away. He stared at it all. What is this? He asked quietly. Insurance, I said. You're going to give me my $6,000 back. You're going to finalize this divorce with no contest. And you're going to leave her. Or I'll send this to your boss, her realtor, and the HOA. With copies to both your parents. He looked like he was about to cry. I didn't care. You made your bed, I said. Lie in it. Just not in my zip code. He never spoke to me again after that. And Jenna? She tried to stay. Even with the house up for sale, she dragged it out. Claimed she had buyer interest. Claimed she had lawyers involved. But I'd already sent her file to the neighborhood board. And when the next HOA meeting came around, I showed up early, with binders. By March, her home was flagged for foreclosure proceedings. She missed 2 mortgage payments. I knew that because the mailman, Jim, he's friendly, accidentally misdelivered one of her letters to me. Said I could toss it. I didn't. And then came the final knock. It was Ryan. Back from wherever he'd gone. He showed up on my porch, looking different. Beard grown out. Leaner. Quieter. I just wanted to say thank you, he said. I nodded. You doing okay? Better now, he said. Jenna's not my problem anymore. He handed me a small padded envelope. Inside, a flash drive. And a printed sheet. Emails. Screenshots. Jenna had been doing this for years. Latching onto neighbors. Coworkers. Men in relationships. The Tampa lawsuit? That wasn't just about personal damages. She'd tried to extort a married man, claimed abuse when he dumped her. Filed a restraining order when his wife confronted her. It got thrown out in court. But the damage was done. She's poison, Ryan said. I should have left sooner. By April, her Jeep was gone. Her porch was empty. Just a dead flower pot and one rotting pumpkin left over from last Halloween. Mark? He moved back in with his mom in Frankfurt. The house finally sold in May. Some couple with twins bought it. They put up new blinds and painted the shutters blue. Normal people. Quiet. Sometimes I still look at the fence between our yards and remember Jenna leaning over it, laughing like she belonged there. Like nothing she did mattered. But now? She's gone. And I'm still here. Jenna lost everything, her marriage, her new home, her mask of innocence. Mark destroyed his own life by chasing something he never truly understood. I walked away with my house, my money, and my peace. Not because I screamed. Not because I begged. But because I watched. I waited. And when it was time, I hit back where it hurt the most. Quietly. Legally. And permanently.